Author Kalwinder Singh Dhindsa has produced a fascinating A to Z of iconic Derby figures in the form of poetry and illustrations. The Derby collection aims to recognise Kalwinder's heroes and heroines, and we went to speak to the 40-year-old to find out all about it.
My Derby collection is a collection of poetry and illustrations. It's an A to Z of, in my opinion, the most iconic figures in the history of my town and city.
And I mean, where did the idea come from?
The idea is something that I've had in my mind for a while now. There's a famous poem by Ogden Nash, and it's about baseball, and he goes through the alphabet in terms of A to Z, going through and naming various baseball players. And I've obviously got many heroes and heroines in my life in relation to Derby and the Derby folk. And recently, our city has involved itself in a Walk of Fame. So over the last 2 years, we've had various Walk of Fame stars in Derby, and we've had 20 or so far. And I've always wanted to write about these stars in poetry form. And the idea just came to me. I could do an A to Z. Not only could I add some of these Walk of Fame stars to my collection, but I could also add some of my own. Not only add the poems, but also add some art towards it, some illustrations, and that's where the idea came from. I just wanted to recognise my great heroes and heroines in life.
And obviously yourself, you're a member of the Punjabi Sikh community, but there's some Punjabi links in the collection as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a link with me being a Punjabi, British-born Punjabi Sikh, but there's also another character by the letter S, and I'll just show you. Here he is. So we got here, S is for Singh. So I'll just read this. It says here, S is for Singh, Karam, B-boy kid, a world champion, street dance king, breaking crown, his new lid. Now, Singh and the letter S, obviously, I wanted to, in my collection, add this connection to my community, to my Punjabi culture, to my Sikh faith, you could say. And Karam Singh actually was awarded a Walk of Fame star in Derby not so long ago. And I'm very proud of that, the fact that there's a Singh in the Walk of Fame represented by Karam. So Karam is a breakdancing champion, a world breakdancing street champion. So I thought, it's only right that he should be represented in my collection and more people should know about him. So yeah, Karam is one of the Punjabi connections. There's another one when you flick to the letter F, and that is Frieda Bedi. So in relation to this poem, I've written down, F is for Frieda Bedi, née Holston, left Derby for India, ordained Tibetan Buddhist nun. Now, Bedi is a name that might be quite familiar to a few of us Punjabis, because there was once a famous Bedi in the film Octopussy, and that Bedi was the Bollywood actor Kabir Bedi. And amazingly, Kabir Bedi is a son of Frieda Bedi of Derby. So it was only right that I should again include Frieda Bedi in that, and her contribution in the struggle for Indian independence as well as Kashmiri independence, and the life she led, and what an amazing lady she was, an English-born lady that was born in Monk Street, which is quite fitting in terms of what she later became, that lived in Littleover, and then went off to India and did some amazing things. So I wanted to celebrate these people, these heroes, these heroines, and it's quite amazing, when you do scratch the surface of your town or your city, and you realise some of these people that lived on the same street as you or in the same neighbourhood went on to do these amazing things, and I wanted to reflect that in my writing.
I can tell you're obviously very, very passionate about Derby. Do you believe that sometimes Derby may not get the recognition and praise that it deserves?
Definitely so. I'm 40 years old now, and I've lived a lot of my life in the Normanton area. It's the Pear Tree area is where I grew up. I lived there for the first 26 years of my life. And back in the old day, even when my father was there, and even before that, it wasn't a bad area. It was well kept. They had all sorts of people living there. You had immigrants from all over the place, Punjabis, Pakistanis, Irish folk, Italian, all sorts, right? Since then, it's changed a bit, but also it's remained the same. You're getting immigrants from other places now, Iraq, Iran, and all over the place. And if you were to walk through my old neighbourhood now, drive through it. It's not the same as it was when I was there. My mum still lives there, so I regularly go back. But these days you might find littering, vandalism. And for people that don't know anything about Normanton, about Peartree, you might walk through there and think, oh, this place is a dump. How can you be proud of this place? Well, that dump is my old neighbourhood and I'll forever be proud of it. I went to Harrington Street Nursery, Peartree Infants, Peartree Juniors. I went off to Village Community School, which was before that Homelands. And I'm very proud of that area. And my writing, my poetry over the years has reflected that, you know, no matter how bad things become, you should never reject your own community, no matter what faults you find within it, because there's still people living there now and they need that inspiration to want to get out of there and think, you know, the world's a big place, I can achieve. I know, you know, the likes of like Karim Singh and Frieda Betty and all these others, Brian Clough, Peter Taylor in my book. It just shows what can happen if you put your mind to it and you believe in yourself.